Kaizer Chiefs are currently contenders of the league, but the biggest question is, how did they get to this point? Like, how did they do it? Well, guys, we will be looking at that on today's video, because definitely you can see Kaizer Chiefs so far have managed to keep 5 clean sheets, and they did not change the goalkeeper. They did not even sign a new goalkeeper, but the same goalkeepers who have been there are here now, and this guy just broke a record. Brendan Peterson, he managed to keep 5 clean sheets, which obviously the only goalkeeper who managed to do that was a goalkeeper who played a long time ago. He's a legend, so I can't talk much about him, but he was a legend. And yeah, definitely Brendan Peterson is breaking those records, because so far he's trying his best. That goalkeeper, I know, guys, he managed to go about 9 to 10 games, keeping clean sheets. But with Brendan Peterson, with this record that he currently has, definitely it's possible for him to be able to get to that 10 clean sheet in a row. Wow, that is beautiful. Also, you look at Kaizer Chiefs, you can see Kaizer Chiefs this season, they are contenders for the title. They are playing beautifully, and you can see definitely that they're trying by all means to make sure that they get back to their winning ways, and so far they've managed to do that. Kaizer Chiefs is the only team in the Betway Premiership currently that remains to be beaten. But how did they manage to do it? Like, what happened? What transpired to make Kaizer Chiefs be the team that they are currently, without even the league concluding? But you can see it from afar. Definitely there's something that is cooking, and they are cooking very nicely. Well, I think we just have to quickly go back a bit, like 11-10 years ago. Well, before we go there, please do make sure that you like the video. Thank you so much. So you have to go back a little, go back 11 years ago, by the time of, I think, the man who was in charge of Kaizer Chiefs, it was Stuart Baxter. The premiership was still called the ABSA Premiership, not manje njengoba manje kuthiwa DStv Premiership, Betway Premiership, because those are or were the sponsors. But back then it was ABSA Premiership, and it's been ABSA Premiership for the longest time, because for the longest season, I think about 10 seasons if I'm not mistaken. So definitely that tells you something about ABSA Premiership. But now with the Betway Premiership, probably now but they will be able to manage around 10 to 20 seasons. I don't know, we'll see with how they do it. So at that time, when Stuart Baxter managed to finish the league at 69 points, which definitely was good. He hit the number 1 spot. It was the season, I think, 2014, if I'm not mistaken, 2014 to 2015 season, around that time. So yeah, with Stuart Baxter, things were looking good. Definitely, he had his fair of the seasons, because it was his 3rd season to finish finishing to manage 69 points with, I think, a lot of goals. He managed about 40 something goals, if I'm not mistaken. So it was definitely looking good, not just for him but also for the team, because they were on their I don't know what to say, but they were fire. And then we move after him when Stuart Baxter left, and then we were left with Steve Compella, which obviously was the new goalkeeper signing. That's where the problem started. I know, guys, it sounds ridiculous. Keep being sure it doesn't make any sense, but obviously you guys, you were there, what happened. When Steve Compella, took charge of Kaizer Chiefs, I know it does sound like I'm talking a bit bad about, South African coaches, which is not the case, but we have to be honest. We have to think about everything else, because at the end of the day, having to manage a big team, it's something else. So Steve Compella took charge. He managed to finish, I think, on the 5th position with 46 points. Scored about 36 goals, which unfortunately it was not too bad, but it was bad because, come on, it's Kaizer Chiefs that we're talking about. So Kaizer Chiefs finishing with number 5, definitely it gives you red flags. Okay, fine. Fast forward, he came in the 2nd season, he finished 4th, which definitely that was much better. And then I think he had about 50 points, which was good. But after that, they felt like, no, it's not enough because we are a team that is used to competing for the number 1, 2, and 3. You understand? So they needed to make changes. They gave Patrick Mabedi a chance. He came in, he finished third with just 48 points, which was a bit lower than Steve Kombela. But at the end of the day, you get what I mean. South African. Okay, fine. They go back, they sign Ernest Middendorp, which obviously he had the worst season ever when he was coming back to Kaizer Chiefs, because I think they finished on number 9 and we finished with 39 points, which definitely was not looking good because, you know, V2, this is Kaizer Chiefs, and for the first time he managed to break a record. That was the first time Kaizer Chiefs finishing, you know, outside the top 8 and having the worst league run ever, because 9 position, it says a lot. But then he had the second season, which definitely he tried his best. He was close. He was very, very close to winning the league. I think we played a team. I forgot the name of the team. And then we were supposed to win, but we drew 1-1. And it was heartbreaking, guys, because that title, we were going to clinch it and put it in the back of our backs. But unfortunately, it did not happen. It did not happen. I think Sundowns, as they are dominating, they went on to win the league. And yeah, that was it. History of it. And then after that, I think that's where the problems, you know, get going bad and bad and bad. We've had, you know, who's this coach? I think Atazwane. And when Atazwane took charge, I think it was around the time of COVID-19. Yes, before 2020, COVID-19. So yeah, things were just not too bad. He tried. He finished on 8th place, and then again, second season, I think he finished on 5th place, which was not bad. But at the end of the day, you know, as fans, as we were expecting a lot, you know, from the coach. But we did not want to think about the problems that the coach was facing during that time, because there were a lot of problems, you know, changing the management, changing this and this and that. Like, there were a lot of things that we as fans could not see, or we did not know about, simply because we were blinded by the love of the club, which is Kaizer Chiefs. So during that time, we saw Atazwane trying his best with it. For me, I feel like Umchita did his best. Unfortunately, it was, you know, it was us who we made sure to Atosha Umchita, because for the first time we saw Kaizer Chiefs throwing things in the field of play, you know, demanding it, you know, we need to fire this coach, we need to sack this coach, which definitely happened. When then we brought on Mlefinseki, things were just, they were just pop, and then we brought in Kevin Jensen. We finished, I think, 10th on the league. Like, it did not make any sense. Now, fast forward to 2025 to 2026 season currently. Let's just pause a little bit about the 2024 to 2025 season, which was the stint where Coach Nazir Nabi was in, because that's where things changed, guys. That's where Kaizer Chiefs were smart, because they thought, okay, we've tried our South African coaches, and so far it doesn't seem like there's a coach who's going to be able to manage this team. You know, Kaizer Chiefs is so big that we've had fans. I don't want you to think I'm lying to you guys. We've had fans from our side moving away to go and support other teams just because Kaizer Chiefs was performing badly, not performing the way we expected them to perform. You know, like myself, I did not switch, but I decided to take a break. Go on, and when you're in a bad relationship, a toxic relationship, I was like, yes, this is not good. This is not good for my health. You do not eat. I know you guys can relate. You do not eat. You are always hungry. Like, you know, whenever Kaizer Chiefs is playing, it's disappointment. You are expecting it. Like, you have that hope. This girl is not good for you because she's toxic. And then you say, no, also change about it. I think it too. But at the end of the day, nothing good comes out of that. But fast forward 2023, Kaizer just wanted to sign Coach Nazir Nabi. They could not get him because of the same issues that were there in the previous years, which we could not see as fans, because at the end of the day, we are just fans. We don't know what's going on inside. So okay, fine. they decided to sign Coach Nazir Nabi. Nabi says, no, guys, I can come to your club. I love your club. It's a big institution. It's a dream job. Who wouldn't want to coach Kaizer Chiefs? Because at the end of the day, even if you can bring Coach Rulani Mkwena, if he's not hired anyway, Coach Rulani, Pete, or Jose, anyone would want to come and coach Kaizer Chiefs. But the problem was, now, listen to me very carefully. Chiefs wanted to sign Nabi, but the problem was, Nabi wanted to come to Kaizer Chiefs with his own technical staff, which it was a norm. It was a norm, especially outside the country. It is normal that a coach, wherever he goes with his maybe assistant coach, goalkeeper coach, fitness coach, like anyone they want to bring, they do it themselves. But Kaizer Chiefs was hesitant and they were ignorant and said, nope, we can't do that. We have our own stuff. I think you could fit in very well with the stuff that we currently have. And then Nabi said, no, you know what, guys, if you do not want me to come with my own technical members and technical stuff, then I'm not coming to your club. Because so far I see the project, I see what's happening, but for me, in order for me to be able to do my job, I need you guys to understand what I need. Boom, Samiega. That's where we saw Ntseki taking over and we saw Kevin Johnson taking over. But it was not the plan. It was not the plan, guys, to be honest with you. The plan was to find an international coach who would come and try to resolve our problems. But with us, the team being ignorant, definitely it did not happen until the 2023 to 2024 season, which obviously we saw Kaizer just pushing, trying everything they can, because that's when they opened their eyes and they became smart and they were like, no, we need this guy, because we can see definitely there's no coach who can be able to do this job other than him. His record speaks for itself, which is something that Kaizer Chiefs were looking for in a coach. Kaizer Chiefs is a team that needs a coach who has a good history of winning trophies, winning titles, which it's something that this guy possessed. Then they sat down, they were like, okay, let's just rebuild, restructure, let's make wholesale changes from the technical team going all the way down. And that's exactly what happened. We saw Kaizer Chiefs hiring Nabi, and then boom. I remember I gave you guys the story of Fernando de Cruz here on YouTube. I think I was the first one to post that video on YouTube. Yes, I know I was not the first one to put it out there, but I was the first one to post it here on YouTube. Fernando de Cruz coming to Naturena. He got fetched by the Toyota Bakis, definitely, which it's a classic. And then we saw that, okay, definitely things are happening. They brought in goalkeeper coach, fitness coach. We had not a scouting, but we had who's this guy? Ayman Macro. I remember Ayman Mac, that guy who is a analyst, I believe. We had him also, but unfortunately was Chigelo Mchita before he can even sign with us. So, but I do not blame him, because now coach, it's not someone who he has worked with entirely. He just found him there. The only guy that he did work with was the assistant coach Khalil Ben Youssef, and then Maji Safina is someone I think I can say he found along the way. Not necessarily along the way, but he's someone who's new compared to Khalil Ben Youssef, because him and Khalil Ben Youssef go a way long back. So definitely with the introduction of the new technical staff and everyone else, things had to change, and they did, but they did not change the way we were expecting, because as fans, when something is new, you expect the best out of it. But then the coach came in and said, no guys, I have this problem and that problem, and for me to be able to fix those other problems, I need to firstly fix this problem, which obviously we know what he was talking about. He was talking about the players, and for the longest time we thought the players had no problem. We thought the coaching was the problem. But in fact, to be honest with you guys, the problem was also there from the players. And yes, the coaches, you might add a little bit, but most importantly, the players. If you coach a player who doesn't want to be coached, there's nothing you can do. That's why they say you can take the horse to the river, but you can't force it to drink the water. There you go, I said it. So as I'm speaking with you currently, Kaizer Chiefs obviously did that, and they listened to the coach. They tried by all means to make sure that they get the coach the players that he needs, but unfortunately other problems which were there. Signing players, when it comes to signing players, Kaizer Chiefs have their own model, but other than that, there are teams, especially PSL teams, who do not want to see Kaizer Chiefs signing any quality players from their teams to Kaizer Chiefs, which is a normal thing where I can't even speak like it's something new, it's something that you've always known. So okay, fine, we move from that, and then we look at what Kaizer Chiefs did. They were smart. They said, no, it's fine. If we are not going to get players, South African players here, we are going to go overseas and look for South African players overseas, which they did, and they tried, and they found some of those players, but unfortunately not all of them. But with what they've tried, and they found some players who can be able. Now, what happened? They went to Netherlands. So far, with that Netherlands, preseason games, which obviously they were not scared to broadcast them. Number one. Number two, they were losing. Not every game they played there, they won. They were losing. But now you ask yourself, how come Kaizer Chiefs currently, they are doing what they're doing, playing beautiful football, making sure their strength is much, much bigger than last season? Well, simple fact of it. Let me just tell you this one thing. Kaizer Chiefs have managed to sign players. Yes, not the best of the best, but Kaizer Chiefs signed players. And on those players, Kaizer Chiefs, they understand, they understand the depth that is needed in the team. And all of those players, they know that each and every time, if I do not get to perform, then I will be sacked and someone else will come in and take my position. That is fact number one. Number two, Kaizer Chiefs have strengthened their defense. This season, we are defending as a team. And not that the defense part is only the part for defenders, but the entire team is defending, which is something that the coach corrected in that Netherlands trip, which they had to go to. Number three, the mentality wise, as I've said before, Kaizer Chiefs, Coach Nazir and Nabi, they've changed the mentality of the boys. Definitely, that's another point for Kaizer Chiefs to perform the way they are performing and to contend for the league. With Coach Nazir and Nabi having had the experience of playing PSL and managing to see what goes on in the PSL and what he needs to adjust tactical wise, that guy is a genius and he understood. No, definitely, I need players who will be unpredictable. I need players who will have different qualities, but they all play the same position, which is why we have a player like Pasika Marco, we have a player like Bradley Cross, we have a player like Kabelon Kwesa, we have a player like Turan Mabaso, we have a player like Spacey Ndovu, we have a player like who's this guy, Aiden McCarthy. Okay, fine, he's been with the team, but we also have players like Flavo Silva, Wandile Duba, Teshrick Morris. You look at all those players, Ashley Dupreez, you can see each player possesses their own capabilities, their own abilities. That's another fact. The reason why Kaizer Chiefs currently will be hard to beat, and they're currently dominating the PSL, which I know guys, some of you were not expecting this, but trust me guys, it's not going to be easy to beat Kaizer Chiefs this season. And definitely, Kaizer Chiefs will win the league, but it will depend on the game that they will be playing against this Kukuna United, because once they break that momentum, it's not going to be easy to get back, but they will try by all means to make sure that they finish half of the season without losing any game. Yes, they can concede goals, but without losing any game. It will depend on the mistakes that will be made by the players, but I love their recovery rate. This season so far, we have been good in terms of recovering. So we do make mistakes, but when it comes to recovery, it's something else. So definitely it shows you that the reason why Kaizer Chiefs currently are dominating is because they were smart. They did things the right way, and they are trying by all means to make sure that they maintain what they've started. Not to say, okay, we will sign this coach and change, sign this coach and change. No, that's not what is happening. Kaizer Chiefs have learned from their mistakes, and that's another point. Learning from your mistakes to make sure that you don't repeat the same mistakes that you've done before. Get me?